I don't think this is copyrighted, so I'm going to try it. Sorry, I wasn't prepared. Give me 1 second. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. So, hello, welcome to a brand new episode of Dylan Knows. It is July 4th, 2026. First episode I think I've done on July 4th. I don't think this should be copyrighted because it is a piece that everybody can play. This is John Philip Sousa, Stars and Stripes Forever. People will be watching that with fireworks, or probably already watched it since most fireworks have probably already happened, but who knows, because this day, July 4th, 2026, was a massively hot day, the final day of heat dome. Massive severe storms rolled through the area, particularly my area was affected greatly by this, and Washington, D.C. during the shitty pedo's birthday celebration for the United States. Hijacked our birthday, which pisses me off to no end, is fucking everything up down there now too. And they're still fucking around down there, so we'll see what happens. Heard some fireworks in my area right here. Other fireworks across the country have already come and gone. They haven't even started down in D.C., and they weren't even going to probably start till probably after July 5th, which doesn't make any fucking sense to do fireworks on 4th of July when it's the 5th of July, motherfuckers. But that's all right. I was going to do the whole episode where I was just going to talk about my 4th of July memories, but then I remembered I did that already yesterday on my show, Holiday Dill, 4th of July, 250th anniversary edition. There's probably some that I missed on here, but I wish I would have had this for my show because there's a lot more stuff like that. But I think I covered pretty much everything in here. There's only two things I didn't cover, but that's okay. You don't really need to know that as well. I guess there are a few of them. So some other July 4th memories. So watch my show from yesterday, Holiday Dill, July 4th edition. It's a good show. It's about an hour long and has all my memories of July 4th. This is just a few other ones. I played my Rec League All-Star games when I played Rec League baseball on 4th of July, which was a lot of fun. Went to baseball, softball fields in Hunt Valley sometimes to see the fireworks from Oregon Ridge. That was kind of cool. Last year, I had a pinched nerve in my back on 4th of July after spending a week on the couch watching movies. So that wasn't fun. I'm just going to make sure this is cold because it doesn't feel. This is cold enough. So I had to deal with that again. Old Navy t-shirts was another one that people used to wear all the time. I got these special t-shirts, specific ones for my family for July 4th. This is mine. And my wife got one with a black cat with American flag. Noah got one with Godzilla. And my daughter got one with the Constitution on it. So all good. Covered that. We used to have cookouts at work the day before 4th of July whenever we were getting ready to do off. We didn't do it this year. And a few other movies I forgot to add to my list. I Know What You Did Last Summer, Team America, Captain America, The First Avenger, League of Their Own, Rocketeer, Charlotte's Web, stuff like that, both live action animated. So there's that. So then this year, my daughter's boyfriend came to our party for the first time to meet a lot of the extended family, which was really great. It was okay. It was too hot to do anything, so we just watched some World Cup action and ate some food. Food was okay. Didn't really talk too much. My son and wife just got back from summer camp. They were out in this heat for the last 3 days. So they were kind of out of it. My son was having sort of a weird moment, so he wasn't. There's some fireworks right there. Having a weird moment, a little depressed. So I had to sit with him because that's what I do. I want to make sure he was feeling okay. So we did that as well. And then as we were leaving, we started hearing thunder, and we drove into the storms. Winds picked up a little bit, and rain came down. Saw lots of lightning and thunder, heard some thunder. And then as we're coming up closer to my neighborhood, lots of trees were down, lots of tree branches were down. And then I started looking at videos from all across Maryland. There were lots of trees, lots of wires coming down, trees falling onto houses. A few houses in the area had that happen to them. And destroying stuff, falling into the middle of the roads. Electricity's out in a lot of the area as well. So it was a vicious storm. And then there was somewhere in one of the like Mount area or something like that, someone videotaped what could have been a small tornado. Small one. It wasn't really massive enough to do any major damage. So, but still. Kind of rough ending to our 4th of July. This was a weird week. I was worried about this heat dome, which started on Wednesday and went through today, because looking at the weather, it still feels hot right now in this house, even though we have the air on. It's 75 degrees. It's going to drop down to about 73 and the low, and then it's going to go up only up to 89 degrees. Still kind of warm, but not as warm, with potential of rain in the evening. And then 82s, 85, 86, and then next weekend we're looking at 81, 79, and 82. So next Monday, not this upcoming Monday, but next Monday, as of now, looks really, really good. 82 degrees with 60 degrees as a low. So we're going to get back to some normal sort of temperatures. 80s are still kind of high, but they're not going to be terrible. The humidity has really jumped up now. It wasn't this humid during a lot of the heat over the last few days till yesterday. So it was tolerable, but still not great. I think Maryland had 3 straight days of 100-degree weather. I think we broke a record or 2 as well. So I was worried about that. And then my freezer on like Monday, I woke up, I came downstairs, looks like there was water coming from my refrigerator, opened up the freezer, and the ice in the ice machine was all melted into water. So I had to empty the water and pull out a bunch of stuff. And then you could tell a lot of the stuff was unfrozen. So I threw that. I was like, okay, great. My freezer's busted. I need a new refrigerator. So I had to put towels and stuff down to catch any of the melting water. And then about Thursday, I noticed the freezer came back on and ice started being made again, and it's now cold again. But now my refrigerator seems a little warmish, so I don't know what's going on. We still need to get a new one, but I think it's still tolerable right now, but still annoying as hell. So I deal with that, and then I had to deal with some situation with my mom, which I still quite understand. She's fine. We're all fine, but it's just a weird little thing. So it was just kind of rough. So it was a rough week. Got my family back today, though, so I'm very happy about that. Tomorrow, Sunday, the 5th of July, is just going to be a sit-down, relax day. I'm going to go to the grocery store. I got to get some new groceries, got to figure out what we're going to do for dinner, and then get the stuff for the upcoming week, because my wife's got to go back to work. My wife and my daughter and I got to go back to work as well, and my son is just going to chill out at home until he finds a job for himself. So we'll see what happens, but all in all, an okay 4th of July. Wasn't one of my favorites. I did enjoy having my daughter's boyfriend meet parts of my family, but I didn't really spend much time with them. And we are now past the last big holiday. The next big holiday is Halloween. We have Labor Day in there as well, but that's like the next time that I'm going to have off. So from this point on, there ain't shit. Now, my son's birthday's in the end of August, back to school, end of August, but there ain't shit from now on. So whoop-de-friggin'-do. But it wasn't all terrible. Congratulations to Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, who officially tied the knot on Friday. Cheers to you, L'chaim. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. I got a whole section about that coming up a little later in the show. So that was good. That was one kind of a good thing. And we had some other kind of good things happening, which I'll cover in today's episode as well. which, by the way, is episode 668, SEMIQUINCENTENNIAL, which is the name for the 250th anniversary of our birthday of the United States. So here we are, July 4th. I'm a holiday guy, and we've reached a holiday, and now back to just normal bullshit. Wonderful. Another discourse I was having this week that pissed me off was Supergirl debuted last Friday, and my daughter and I saw it on Sunday. Absolutely loved it. It was fantastic, a great film. And then just all the haters on board and calling it a flop because it didn't make enough money. And I plan on doing probably an in defense of Supergirl, so I probably won't cover it too much. But let me just tell you this much. First of all, when did obsession with box office really start? Because who gives a shit about box office? Second, who gives a shit about Rotten Tomatoes? You already heard my Rotten Tomatoes spiel. If you want to go see a movie, fuck what other people think about it or what you hear about it. If you want to go see a movie, go see the fucking movie. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Sorry, you wasted your money, but at least you know. But what if you decided not to see it and then you saw it on stream? You're like, holy shit, I wish I would have seen this in the movie theater. You're never going to know till you go. I'm not dismissing people who didn't want to see it, which is fine. If you don't want to see it, that's fine. I don't want to hear you going on about how happy you are that it failed at the box office and blah, blah. It's going to destroy James Gunn's DCU, which is not true at all. Next year, Superman is going to absolutely destroy the box office. And the same morons who are screaming this didn't realize that, you know, they're so accustomed to the MCU making so much money for their movies that when it doesn't make as much, a DC movie doesn't make as much, they have to start thinking about it. This is James Gunn has just started his tenure as movie producer or the movie guru president with last year's Superman, which was a massive, humongous fucking hit. So fuck you haters. It was a fucking huge hit and a well-loved movie by lots of people. And Supergirl was a well-loved part of that as well. And it became a huge, big fucking box office hit, much like Iron Man, the original Iron Man that kicked off the Marvel MCU. But the same summer, even though this was a summer later, but the same summer with the MCU, The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton came out and did about Supergirl numbers, and no one really gave a shit. So it was the majority of people that the reason why it didn't do as good as numbers is because A, you have Toy Story 5, which is just absolutely destroying everything. And two, you got Minions movie because the kids go out for these and parents need to save money because our economy's in shitter right now. But the true fans went to see it, and everything I've seen online so far for people I truly trust has been positive. They're all trying to get more people to go see it. So like that. And DC seems to be happy with it, and they're not going to get rid of Supergirl. She's in next year's Superman. She has a part in that as well. So just ignore the haters. And plus, it was the first week of the movie. We'll see how the numbers are for this week to see how bad the drop is. If it's a subtle drop, it has legs. And you all were screaming for 45 to 100 days in the movie theaters so people can take their time to go see it. Now you're bitching that it didn't make all its money back. Well, if it stays in the movie theaters for 45 days and it keeps chugging away, it'll make over $100 million. So, and already is, you know, it's worldwide. It'll probably do that as well. So just go see it. It was a really good movie. It's not a great movie, but it's a good movie. It was fine. It was loosely adapted from the Woman of Tomorrow story written by Tom King. There's bits and pieces from it, but it's a completely different story. But, you know, everything about it was fine. It was good. It was a perfect summer movie, and hopefully people will go see it and keep pushing to see it. My daughter's seen it twice, which I'm really happy about. So good on that. We also had the cookies and ice cream. The Insomnia cookies was like a lemon raspberry, which was really, really good. And they also had a red velvet and blue like cookie dough sort of thing as well. That was good too. So they were good cookies. And then Cold Stone Creamery had this kettle corn ice cream sundae and a kettle corn ice cream milkshake that's connected to Supergirl believe it or not, that's actually good shit. The kettle corn stuff was actually really, really good. In the sundae, they actually had kettle corn in the ice cream as well as caramel and just regular kettle corn ice cream. It was really, really good. Very, very tasty. Not overdone. Not over disgusting. It was very well done. Very well subtle. It was delicious, and the milkshake was fantastic as well. I like the milkshake a little bit more than the sundae, personally, because you really got the flavor of the kettle corn. But yeah, Supergirl was good. Decent story. It's about Supergirl stopping sex traffickers in space. There's no like end of the world supervillain doesn't need to be an end of the world supervillain. I liked his tics where he was eating stuff all the time. Lobo, Jason Momoa's Lobo was spot on, perfect. Loved it when he yelled Bastich. Wish we would have seen his space dolphins, but maybe he's also in the next Superman movie as well. So we'll see about that. And it's a good introduction to James Gunn's outer space characters. And I can totally see down the line a few years, Supergirl and the Legion of Superheroes becoming a movie. And that would be probably freaking fantastic if they don't want to do another Supergirl movie. That's going to be a shame, though. Millie Alcock is fantastic. And she's cute. So all you fuckers say she's ugly, you can go fuck yourselves. You must be... No, I can't say that because that's insulting, but I'm not going to say that. But you're just being hateful and spiteful because you're pieces of shit and you're Snyder bros and you can just fuck right off. It's a good movie. I don't care what anyone says. Look, that's my opinion. You don't have to, as I said, my whole point is you don't have to listen to my opinion. If you want to go see the movie, go see the movie. You don't, that's fine. But don't go online and say, ha ha, fuck you. It's a sucky movie. Well, you haven't seen it yet. Or I'm not going to go see it. Fine. You don't have to tell us. That's fine. That's your prerogative. So who cares? As I said, I'll probably cover it more if I decide to do in defense of. I really think I'm going to, though, because of all the haters that we had out there. So one of the other good things that happened this week was earlier in the week as well. A man and a woman climbed to the top of the Empire State Building and hung a flag protesting. It was the flag said something like love of a person is much stronger than love of power, something like that. A perfect protest. They hung it up there. Helicopters got pictures of it. It got videos. They see them up there. They're wearing Batman masks. It's really cool. And then they climb back down. And then once they get down to a reasonable level, the male gets down on bended knee, proposes to the woman who he was with, and we get a picture from her Threads page or Instagram that shows her with her engagement ring over the skyline of New York City. We learn later on that these two were in a Netflix documentary about people who do climbing for a career, and it followed these two people. And when they got together, and now they're officially engaged. They got arrested when they came down, but then were released about a day later. So they're out and finally they got a big news story out of it. So this is the first of a couple of really good stories that came out this week. So that was kind of a sweet little story, and I like that a lot. It was very interesting, and it took over the airwaves on Monday. It was a good feel-good story, and it's in New York City where things are changing for the better for everybody. So that was an outstanding thing to happen there. So congratulations to them. It was Skywalkers was the name of the Netflix series they did. But they didn't do it just to promote the show because the show's been out for years. They did it because they were protesting what's going on in Washington. So. Woo doggy, they had some issues in Washington this week as well. We're going to talk about that later, too. So, Backrooms, the creepypasta that became a huge hit in the movie theaters that I kind of predicted, to be honest. Maybe not as big of a hit as it was, but I thought it would do very, very well. Did, as everyone expected, is convincing movie distributors because they really have no idea what's going on. Hey, so people made Backrooms be $300 million. Let's take a look at some other creepypasta stuff and make movies out of them. They'll make $300 million too. There's no guarantee that they're going to. Backrooms had a big following, and There's no saying you just pick a random creepy pasta and make it into a movie and see how it fares. It might not make $300 million. It might only be a niche group of people that like it, or it might make more. Who knows? But they're going to go ahead and do it. They picked up two. One company got Zach Krager, who did Weapons and Barbarians and is doing the new Resident Evil movie. The writer and director of both of those was nominated for an Oscar this year, I believe, for Weapons, to produce and co-write a Siren Head movie, which, if you've seen the creepypasta, it's a really decent looking creature. It's a giant with a bunch of speakers on his head. And when you're in the woods and you hear like warnings, like warning, fire down, fire, like a loudspeaker thing like that. And you hear like the feedback and stuff like that, Siren Head coming to get you. I don't know how they're going to do the story. Whatever, the creepypasta was just a bunch of creepy noises and people seeing this thing. Obvious CGI. So we'll see how that actually turns out. But they are making that to a movie. The other one I will talk about in a little bit because I didn't write it down there. I wrote it down a little further down the line. So we'll get there close enough. But there is another one. We'll talk about that very soon. Lola Tung joins the cast of Please, a new A24 movie. Catnado is a thing. It's a movie, a B movie, taking after Sharknado stuff, but it's with cats. 11-year-old Canadian boy has died of rabies after waking up to a bat being on his face and mouth. That's a weird ass thing to happen to somebody. Just crazy. Grog is a new drink that two Australians have created. Grog is American flavored Japanese hard soda. It's a wine-based hard soda inspired by Japanese shichu drinks. So Grog will be coming out soon. Cold Stone Creamery, talked about them with their fantastic kettle corn ice cream. Don't know how much longer it's going to be there. If you get a chance, go ahead and definitely try it. It is phenomenal. They are doing a cookie and peanut butter ice cream taco with using Reese's peanut butter. Coming out here soon. Might already be out by now, but it's out there now. So if you want that, you can go ahead and do that. A virus that causes explosive diarrhea has appeared in at least 10 states in the southern United States because the South sucks. Two bear cubs were filmed playing with a tether ball. You remember tether ball? It's a pole, and there's a rope, and there's a ball on it, and you bap it around. These two bear cubs were bapping around together, so that was kind of cute. All right, I'll talk about that later. Boom. Netflix will be doing a Jean-Benet Ramsey movie with Melissa McCarthy and Clive Owen, set to debut at the end of 2026. So we'll be seeing plenty of that probably eventually. Peter Dinklage is going action hero in a new film written by the John Wick sequel writer called The Reckoner. So we're going to see Peter Dinklage bringing out his inner Keanu Reeves. We have a new teaser trailer for Baywatch 27 coming out in 2027. Prime Video is adapting the novel Sarek into a 4-part miniseries. Unfortunately, it is not a Star Trek story. It is something completely different. Barry Pepper, Kiefer Sutherland, C. Thomas Howell team up for The Horseman, a Western coming out here soon as well. Anniversaries. We have a lot of really cool anniversary stuff coming out this week. It's July 4th week, so you have a lot of really cool stuff that came out in movie theaters and history and stuff like that. First up, we have, of course, Independence Day. Debuted 30 years ago this week, was a huge smash hit. I saw it 4 times in the movie theater in 1996, which added to my 51 movies in 1 year at the movie theater. One of those times I saw it, the movie Phenomenon was connected to it. Back then they used to do double pictures where they were trying to promote one movie, and then you watch that movie, and then you stick around for your reward is to watch a hugely popular movie. So you get 2 for 1 sort of price thing. So I did that. So Independence Day is 30 years old this week. Multiplicity is also 30 years old this week. The Michael Keaton clone movie, which is actually decent, but gets a little weird near the end. Had Andy McDowell directed by Harold Ramis, so that was kind of good. Adventures in Babysitting debuted 39 years ago this week. Kicked off Chris Columbus's career, and Elizabeth Shue did a fantastic job. Coming to America debuted 38 years ago this week. Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall playing multiple roles. James Earl Jones, all kinds of great cast members, directed by John Landis. I think every cast member except for Louis Anderson was African American. Samuel L. Jackson has an early appearance in a cameo role before he became truly famous. The Great Mouse Detective also debuted 40 years ago this week. One of Disney's pre-Little Mermaid movies. This one was about Mouse Sherlock Holmes and Mouse Watson solving crime. The Shitty Armageddon debuted 28 years ago this week as well. And it was Bobby Bonilla Day on July 1st, but also you can add Chris Davis Day to that. Bobby Bonilla is a baseball player who played for the New York Mets and many other teams as well. But when he played for the Mets, he had signed a contract that says that they would pay him $1 million a year until like 2039 or something like that. So they're celebrating that. The Orioles did something similar to Chris Davis, so he gets about that as well, even though neither of them are playing in the major leagues anymore. The X-Files pilot by Ryan Coogler has finished production, so they're just waiting to see if it gets picked up. One Piece live action third season has also finished production, so that'll be rolling in here soon too. We got 2 new coffee creamers coming up. One is banana bread coffee creamer, and one is apple butter coffee cake creamer, which is interesting. I might try that. Hopefully it'll come out in the fall. We'll see what happens. The Fast Forever, the final Fast and the Furious movie, has started production. Water Park Shark is now on digital. Yes, that is removed from the director of Sharknado. Liquid Death has created a peanut butter cup flavor. So if you like your Liquid Death energy drink, you now have your choice of peanut butter cup flavor. Hallmark is set to release at Christmas time a Slimer plushie from Ghostbusters and a Slimer collectible glass. So that was something. So, who expected to start talking Christmas, The first look at Misha Barton's Detective Miranda Green, which is her third movie in a movie called The Mystery of the Golden Spear. It's a third movie that she's made, but no one ever knew about the other 2 she made. But apparently it's a popular series. Maybe it's on one of the networks we don't watch. Small town outside of Montreal became the first to recognize trees as living beings with legal rights for the right to life, to grow, and to continue. Mayor Mondami in New York City has created the first ever pet food pantry for low-income people who are having trouble paying for food for their pets. They can now get it for free at the pet pantry. One of the standouts of last year's Superman movie was Mr. Terrific. He has been tapped for his own DC TV series. So that'll be coming out. Not a movie, he gets a series. And everyone was like, why doesn't he get a movie? Why does he get a TV series? Because TV series is technically better than a movie, because a movie is only 2 hours long. Yes, it's in a movie theater, and it makes a lot of money. But a TV series allows the character to grow. It might be 8 episodes, like the Lantern series, and could get lots of critical acclaim. I think if I was an actor, I'd like to be in, instead of a 2-hour movie, like a TV series, Heat 2 has officially set their cast. Christian Bale is set to play Al Pacino's character. Leonardo DiCaprio is set to play Val Kilmer's character. And Stephen Graham is set to play Robert De Niro's character, which is interesting since, spoiler alert, he dies in Heat 1. So we'll see if that's flashbacks or whatever, but there's your cast right there. Chirian Hines has been cast in Narnia. People are now thinking that he is replacing Meryl Streep as the voice of Aslan. but no one has said that is the case. They don't know what kind of role he's playing, so no one knows what's going on with that. But Ciarán Hinds is in the new Narnia movie, which will not be out now till next year. Project Hail Mary has hit Prime on Friday, so I believe it's free, just like Sheep Detectives was. I saw Sheep Detectives with my daughter this week as well on Prime, which was kind of nice. She liked it. Webberoni Pizza, we finally got our first one. Based at Little Caesars is teaming up with the Spider-Man movie to do a Webberoni Pizza. It's basically instead of circular pepperoni, it's pepperoni strips that are placed on the pizza that look like webs. The cheese is a little bit different than the regular pizza, so I think they use a different type of cheese for that. So that's kind of it. It was pretty decent though. So I had that. We still have some more. My son will be able to try it tomorrow. As of July 2nd, at like 12 midnight or 12 noon or some bullshit, I don't know, 2026 is officially halfway done. That's not, I was trying to do a clever little, there we go, is halfway done. So that's kind of interesting. You know, we're already halfway through the year. It got me thinking, though, which is weird. I know I think of weird stuff. So I was thinking about Black Friday this week. And I know my son has been dying to get the Switch 2, but it's really, really expensive right now. I know the new Pokemon game comes out next year. That's only going to be available on Switch 2. So I told my wife, I think I'm going to go out on Black Friday early in the morning if there is actually indeed some sort of sale on the Switch 2 and try to do that. I haven't gone out on Black Friday since like 2016, 17 when I first got the Switch for my kids, and I tried to get a special offer from a GameStop. So I got there at like 4 a.m. It opened at 6 a.m. and I was the fourth person in line. So I was like, oh, great. So I waited, and then they opened up at 6, and they said, okay, who's here for the Switch? And a bunch of us raised our hands, said, well, we only have 2, so the first 2 people get it. And obviously 2 of the 4 people in line wanted it, so the other 2 did not get it. So at that time, we still had a Toys R Us. So I went across the street to see if they had a deal, because they were still open at that time as well from overnight. They didn't have it either. So my wife ended up getting something, I think, on Cyber Monday. So we ended up getting the Switch for them that year. So I'm going to try to do that maybe this year, see if they have any deals for the Switch 2 anywhere, or we might do it on Cyber Monday like we did last year. So I think that we're going to try to do that. But it has to be a good deal, though, in order for us to do that, because it's still really expensive. I'm going to get a little political here for a second. MAGA believes that liberals are controlling the weather, and they're the ones that have caused this extreme heat that has ruined pedo president's 250th anniversary thing, and the storm that hit South Dakota when he was supposed to do his speech there too. So he thinks that liberals have a weather machine that's controlling that is causing things to happen to President Pedo. Just had to say it. Death this week. Michael Byrne, who is a character actor who was in Coronation Street, Indiana Jones' Last Crusade, Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows, Tomorrow Never Dies, Braveheart, character actor, and a bunch of stuff. He passed away this week. Joby Baker, a TV and film star from the 60s and 70s, also passed away this week. Anniversaries, and one more death. Jell Nilsson, I guess he's Swedish or whatever, played the villain Lord Humongous in the original Road Warrior movie. So he passed away this week as well. Anniversaries, Terminator 2 debuted 35 years ago this week. Die Hard 2 debuted 36 years ago this week. Cats and Dogs debuted 25 years ago this week. And one of my favorite movies of all time, The Shadow, debuted 32 years ago this week. And Steven Spielberg and Tom Cruise's War of the Worlds debuted 21 years ago this week. On a personal note, on July 3rd, 2004, 22 years ago, me and my wife moved into this glorious house. So we've been here 22 years, and it looks like it. But this has been a good house for us so far. It got a little bit of a facelift at the beginning of the week. One of our neighbors had a guy, and he came out and he fixed our door and repainted our door frame and fixed the wood paneling underneath our bay windows. It looks really, really nice. So we got a little bit of a facelift. We still have a lot of work to do inside, but the outside is looking pretty decent right now. Still needs a lot of work out there as well, but you get what you can afford and get what you get. So that was kind of cool. So yeah, 22 years ago, we moved in here. July 4th, 2002, 24 years ago, I talked about this on my Holiday Dill show yesterday, talking about July 4th. On July 4th, 2002, I proposed to my wife at the Towson Parade. Told me she hated me. Then she said yes. Then a guy next to us said, but you go to every parade he asked you to go to from now on. Then we went to my Uncle Philip's house. We were going to do a big announcement like after dinner or whatever. But my Aunt Mary Beth and my soon-to-be stepmom, Yvonne, saw the ring and got excited and said they'd keep it to themselves. We went to go see my grandmother. She noticed the ring and says, "Why didn't you tell us you got engaged?" As loud as she could. We were like, we were going to wait till dinner. So then we had to tell everybody because everybody heard her say that. So it became a big party, so that was fun. I told there's more to the story, but I told that in my show yesterday, the Holiday Dill July 4th show. Check it out, please. I think I really enjoyed doing that. So there's that as well. And unfortunately, I lost one person who was watching me when I started talking about the pedo president. So I apologize for that, but I just have to. So that was my one page of paper that I did at work this week, and my July 4th memories as well. All the rest is in my notebook. Mea culpa. Mea culpa. I have put off watching the Robert Pattinson Batman movie for the longest time because from what I've seen, they absolutely destroyed my favorite villain of all time, the Riddler. So I had sort of an the Batman sort of feel to it. So I didn't watch it for the longest time. But then this week when my wife and son were at summer camp, I had me and my daughter, we were watching some movies. We watched, I said, Cheap Detectives. We watched which on Monday? Oh, We Live in Time. I wanted to show her that. I feel like we're missing one also. But we watched The Batman finally on Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. And folks, mea culpa, I love the movie. I love the Batman movie, except for the Riddler. The Riddler still pissed me off and still pisses me off. So on my letterbox, I gave it 4 stars. But I love the movie. If they would have turned the Riddler into Tommy Elliott and Hush, that would have been a top 5 Batman movie for me, a 5-star film on Letterboxd, and a glowing review. Instead, they turned him into the Riddler and made him sort of like a Saul serial killer sort of type thing. That's not who the Riddler is. And, of course, they also introduced Barry Keoghan as the Joker, which pissed me off also because Joker is way overdone. We don't need another version of the Joker, but we do have one now in the system. But the movie itself, absolutely phenomenal. Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman was great. Robert Pattinson as Batman was great also. One of the things I remember seeing when we first saw some of the additional pictures of it, it had him in this sort of emo haircut with the dark eyeliner and stuff like that. And people were like, this is his Bruce Wayne. And I was like, oh, Jesus. And I was like, okay, I'll try to survive on that. Folks, that's not exactly what it was. As Batman, he puts this black makeup on. I don't know why, but to make him look like he has no eyes, probably because if you just had the eyes and then you had the white skin, you couldn't tell if he's black or white or whatever. So he puts it under there. So when he's done playing Batman, he's taking it off and it's running like an emo thing and his hair's going to be all messed up. But they showed him as Bruce Wayne all made up in a suit. He looks like Robert Pattinson from like Tenet. where he looked fine. He looked like a fine Bruce Wayne. He wasn't acting overly stupid, didn't really say much as Bruce Wayne, and there is a Bruce Wayne storyline in it. And I like the storyline that they have. They used the little bits and pieces of certain things, and it looks like they're setting up stuff for the second movie that is currently filming right now. But I really enjoyed it. I loved his version of Batman. I could understand what he was saying on like Bale's Red Batman, Red Batman. Pattinson actually was very clear out as Batman. You could hear what he was saying. And he did change his voice, which was great. And then, as I said, Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman was fantastic. Andy Serkis as Alfred Pennyworth was great as well. I forget the actor who played. Let me get this right because he's phenomenal. The one who played at this point is Lieutenant Gordon. Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon was phenomenal, much tougher James Gordon. And Colin Farrell's Penguin, of course, was absolutely fantastic. As I said, Paul Dano was terrible as the Riddler, but he would have been great as a Tommy Elliott. And I liked the storyline. Batman got to use his detective skills a little bit more, and there's a little bit more of Wayne history changed up than usual. How Dr. Wayne was a saint sort of thing. John Turturro as Carmine Falcone was fantastic as well. And they did a little bit of bits from Dark Victory, a little bit of Long Halloween, a little bit of Court of Owls in there as well. So kind of a lot of interesting little things. Court of Owls will be a major part of the next movie as well. But it was a great movie. I loved it. It's 3 hours long, which is a little bit long for me. But to be honest, it didn't seem like it was 3 hours long because the story's engaging. The only problem, as I said, is the Riddler. I despised Paul Dano's version of it. Not his fault. He was going by the script. Again, if he would have been Tommy Elliott, it would have been a whole different movie, would have been a whole lot better also, in my opinion. So, mea culpa. I love the movie. It was great, fantastic. I enjoyed it immensely. So I only watched a few movies this week. Last year I watched like over 30. This year I think I watched like 4. It is what it is. So what should I do here? It's just about midnight. So I'll do a couple of these, and then when we get to midnight, I'll talk Travis and Taylor's wedding. Liza Colin Zayer is set to play Jean DeWolf in the new Spider-Man movie, which is great because Jean DeWolf is a great character. Tom Holland is starting tap dance rehearsals for a Fred Astaire biopic. I think we talked about it a little bit, but it is now officially in the works, and I think it's going to be phenomenal if he does that. Kelsey Fendler broke a speed record for rowing solo from California to Hawaii. That was a great story as well. So she left like Sacramento, California, like in May, and she rowed by herself across the Pacific Ocean to Hawaii. She landed in Hawaii just after, just before 1 a.m. on today, 4th of July. Hawaii time, obviously. It is now officially July 5th. July 4th is done and over with. Bring out the Halloween decorations. That's the biggest thing I've been seeing lately online. Part of the Brooklyn Bridge appeared to catch fire after the fireworks in New York City today. A woman was arrested after hiring a clown to attend every one of her ex's softball games and clap sarcastically. Gotta love that. What the fuck did I write there? Oh, that's all. This is all political stuff, so I'll deal with that a little bit later right now. So I gotta talk about. I gotta talk about it. You gotta talk about it, Travis. Travis and Taylor are officially man and wife. I'm so excited, and I know this seems really weird for me to say, so we're going to go off on tangent here for probably about 20 minutes. So if you don't want to hear about this, this is my show. Screw you, I'll do what I want, but you can always fast forward or not watch it from now on. There's still more good stuff. I've got 1, 2, three more full pages of notes of stuff. So after I do this, I still go back to regular shows. So if you don't want to hear about me just spazzing out about Travis and Taylor's wedding, you can skip the next 20 minutes or so. If you want to hear it, buckle in here because I thought this was fantastic. A little perspective here. I was never a Swiftie. I liked some of her music, but I never really knew her, wasn't obsessed about her too much. And that was fine. I liked some of her songs. That was great. It was cool that she was from Reading, Pennsylvania, and she very well might have been in elementary school, at the elementary school across the street from my college when I was there. Very possible. Probably not, but it could have been possible when she was there at that point. Because she was born in 89. I graduated in 95, so that would make her 6 years old. So maybe not. I might have just missed her going to elementary school. She might have even gone to elementary school, and she might have moved away from Reading at that time. But I was never a big fan. I liked some of her music. Didn't really care. Wasn't really invested in any of the storylines, any stuff like that. And that was fine. I knew who she was, and that was it. And also, I despise Travis Kelce. I think he's the biggest douchebag on the field for the Kansas City Chiefs. But he's also a damn good tight end, does tight end university where he gets tight ends from every team together and runs them through drills and does stuff like that. So you got to give him credit for that. But he's still a massive prick on the field, which is fine. That's part of his character. That's who he is. And he has the numbers that he can actually say, well, I can be kind of a dick about it. And there was some dickish stuff he did with the Ravens or to the Ravens. But we're not going to talk about it. So I could care less about Travis Kelce. I knew who he was also. As I said, I thought he was a douchebag, but other than that, I really didn't have any real other knowledge about him or his life. Never watched his dating show. Never knew much else about him. And then all of a sudden, everything flipped. And I think the first thing was when Travis and Jason did their podcast, New Heights. I found it interesting what they were talking about. So I watched a bunch of their podcasts. And yeah, Travis is still kind of a dick about things, in particular on the field. But he seemed like a decent guy. And I learned more and more about him and Jason and Kylie and all them. And I became sort of invested in the family. So like that, I thought was kind of cool. They're a Philadelphia family. And from Ohio also. They've got all kinds of stuff like that. So it was kind of interesting. So I was watching a little bit of that, not religiously, but it was still fun to watch because Jason is a character and Kylie's amazing. And it was fun to see Travis, doing stuff also and talking to these famous people and stuff like that. And so it was kind of cool. Then the Eras Tour hit. Again, wasn't really thinking much about it. And wasn't really paying much attention, but I'd heard about how big of a deal it was. And I started seeing some of the reels and some of the videos from it. I thought that was kind of cool. And then hearing some of the stuff that Taylor was doing, I thought that's kind of cool for her to be doing that for her people and just how everybody was excited about it and enjoying it. And then it was that fateful day on New Heights when Travis talked about his experience at the Taylor Swift concert in Kansas City and how he wanted to give her a friendship bracelet with his number on it, which is fairly forward, but I was like, you go, dude. I had heard about Taylor's heartbreaks and all the shit that she went through with boyfriends and the assholes and stuff like that. And I wanted to know, I felt bad for Taylor because she didn't have to go through, there's no reason for her to go through all that hate and all that boyfriend stuff. So I was cheering for her, and the people I was following, they were cheering for her and hoping that she would find someone famous, not famous, find a good someone to be her partner and stuff like that. And so I was got a little invested in it. And then the whole Jason Taylor thing, not Jason, Travis Taylor thing just blew up with his discussion on New Heights, and then it spiraled, and then the NFL season started, and then Taylor started showing up at the Kansas City games, people losing their minds about that. I had no problem with her showing up at the games. The NFL knew that she was in the middle of the Eras Tour. It was the biggest tour in the world. They knew it would bump up ratings, so they did. It was a business decision. They didn't ask her, hey, we want you to on the video time. She was going to go visit someone who was interested in her and see what he did. And so visited him at the stadium. They went on a date, and that was history. So I became invested in their love story. And as things progressed, kept listening to the podcast, watching the reels from her trips, hanging out with people on Threads and stuff like that, and Instagram, talking about the Eras Tour. There was one woman who was doing a breakdown of every show on the Eras Tour, and I always liked watching her breakdowns on them, discussing what songs she chose and what outfits she wore, and any Travis sightings as their love started to blossom. And then I just followed them for years. She came to Baltimore when Baltimore played. Kansas City came to Baltimore to play Baltimore in the playoffs, which they should have won. That's besides the point. But I was not one of the people that hated her being shown all the time. That was an NFL decision and not a Taylor decision. And she was pissed about it. She was like, I don't understand why they're doing this. And eventually the NFL started backing away from it. But it was a big deal during the time where the Ravens should have gone to the Super Bowl and got their butts kicked in a bad way at the playoffs. So I became invested in that, and I started listening to more of her music. I like more music. She released 2 albums during this period that I got more involved with, and then listening more to the podcast. That became more hugely popular, and just seeing how much Travis respected Taylor and how Taylor found her perfect partner and the love story. I fell in love with that as well. I'm a romantic at heart. I love those types of things as well. So I was very happy for them. So I became invested in that. And then someone I work with is a huge Taylor Swift fan. So we were chit-chatting a little bit about that. And then the day that Taylor was on New Heights, that was a great podcast to watch. And then turns out that after they did the podcast, that was when Travis proposed to her. She said yes. So then I was screaming, she's proposed. I talked to the person at work who was a fan. I said, hey, she got proposed to. Yay, they're engaged. And then followed that around a little bit. And then the marriage came up. So the one rumor is that they originally were supposed to get married on, June 13th, which was a Saturday, up in Rhode Island was the original plan for that, but they changed it to July 3rd. Now, here's where the weird thing is. They changed it to July 3rd, and then as the weeks progressed, I didn't hear much about it because there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on. And then about a week before it, they're like, we don't know when Travis and Taylor's wedding is going to be. We think it might be July 3rd, but we're not sure. I was like, no, they literally said they're moving it to July 3rd in New York City. They said it. It wasn't a mystery. They said it literally. That was when it was going to happen. Now, the big rumor now is that they said that they actually got married on June 26, 2026, because of the palindrome aspect of it, as in an intimate ceremony with just family and stuff like that. And that the Madison Square Garden one, they were going to invite about 1,000 people to this, and they were going to do the wedding there and then have the reception as well for their friends. So on July 3rd. So no one really knew what was going on. It just seemed odd that they would have 2 weddings in a row, because she did. There's still a lot of top secret stuff. We don't know exactly. There's no real pictures from the inside. There's only big 2 that I've seen so far. One is of Taylor in her wedding dress drinking something in a window. And then there was one that was posted this evening before, as I was prepping for today's show, that showed Travis and her in front of the people getting married. So don't know if that's real, but I would assume it looks to be about right, because they say Travis was in a white tuxedo. He was in a white tuxedo there. The picture looked like it was a real picture, not AI. So I'll say that there were people who revealed some of the stuff, that the way they set up the wedding area and then the reception area sounds fantastic. It sounded like it was a huge blast. They had a good time. Taylor chose her brother to be her man of honor. And of course, Travis picked Jason to be his best man. And apparently, Taylor walked down the aisle to one of her songs played on harp. So that's kind of cool. And each of their vows were like 20 minutes each, something like that. And so lots of celebrities, came to it. Ethan Hawke and his wife, Mariska Hargitay, Jason Sudeikis, Clive Owens or Clyde, whatever the guy who does that one show over in Britain that had them do the opalite stuff. Can't remember his name right now. Her dancers, her best friend from high school was there. Paul Rudd, Adam Scott, Hugh Grant, Ed Sheeran, Aaron Andrews, just tons and tons. Jessica Chastain, people who were in videos of hers years ago popped up in there. People she was just friendly with, stuff like that. Tom Hanks, I think, was there as well. They had a huge ceremony, thousands of people, about 1,000 people, and it was phenomenal. From what I heard, Adam Sandler officiated the wedding, apparently also. So I guess that can be kind of true also. Kylie and Jason's girls were the Flower Girls, which is really sweet also. Travis wore a white tuxedo, as I said. There was a rainstorm during the wedding with lightning and stuff like that. And then right around 7:30 or so, I was going through threads and I found a picture that they posted on the exterior of Madison Square Garden. It said something like TNT are married or something like that, officially married. So it announced that they were officially married. And as soon as that sign came up on the outside of the Madison Square Garden, everybody was just flipping out, posting all kinds of stuff. Congratulations, dancing, singing, laughing, crying, stuff like that. Wikipedia was changed to put in Taylor's page that Travis Kelce was her spouse. And then in his page that Taylor Swift was his spouse, stuff like that, and just updating all that sort of stuff. So it was kind of cool. And then apparently the party raged until the early morning. But before that, so after the announcement, 13 minutes after the announcement, which is her lucky number, a rainbow appeared over Madison Square Garden after the rainstorm passed. And then the sunset was this gorgeous orange, yellow, golden sort of stuff, all of which appeared. People were digging through her lyrics and were all sort of stuff that she was wishing for her, for her life and stuff like that. Just Endgame has a lyrics is after the storm, something was born on the 4th of July, which was the beginning of their husband and wife relationship, which is a really kind of cool thing as well. The Empire State Building was her something blue, turned blue for her, which was really cool. Wikipedia is updated. Brother was like that. The leftover desserts after everyone left, people gave to the Swifties who were waiting outside of Madison Square Garden to see if they can get a picture thing. So they got some of the desserts from her wedding. That's really cool. Now, what's interesting about the weather stuff was it shows that, God, Gaia, whatever, likes Taylor Swift more than the pedo president, because the pedo president was in South Dakota to do a speech in front of Mount Rushmore. And he couldn't because there was hail and 50-mile-per-hour winds and had to be delayed. Meanwhile, she had a storm, rainbow, and then the most gorgeous orangish gold sunset you've ever seen in New York City. So everything was going like that. She and Travis gave $26 million in charitable donations, including to Dolly Parton's library. Before they got married. So that's kind of cool. And people were ragging on her all day till the wedding actually happened, even afterwards. And they were saying, she's a billionaire. She should have paid a whole lot more. What about that? Well, your GOP fuckwads who are billionaires and trillionaires don't give a rat's ass about anybody, don't give any fucking money. So why don't you go fuck right off? Plus, her net worth is different than her gross worth, whatever. She is worth $1 billion because if she sells her songs, she will make $1 billion on them. But she's not going to sell her songs, so she's not technically a billionaire. She's just doing it under, the potential that if she did sell the stuff, she would become a billionaire. So that sort of thing. But her and Travis, $26 million in donations, and the people who were getting donated to obviously came on and were thanking them and all stuff. But then those that weren't getting it, they came on and said, look, you guys ragging on her for not doing enough or not paying enough, like giving $1 million to one charity. It's like, you don't understand. $1 million for a nonprofit charity would set them for at least a year or more to keep them in business, keep their employees as well, and do the work they were supposed to do, instead of always trying to struggle to get money, not knowing if you're going to have enough food or whatever you do for your charity. You're not going to have enough of that stuff. This $1 million donation, even though it was only $1 million and it wasn't 12 million or whatever, that set us up for a whole fucking year. And we don't have to fire anybody, and everybody can get the charity. So it just, they were just absolutely flummoxed by why everybody was hating on it. So it was definitely it really made me feel happy seeing all this happen and see the culmination of the love story. And we'll see what may come. I told somebody that I believe that she probably has a ton of songs that she's written for when she did get married. So it wouldn't surprise me if we have a marriage album coming out soon. So she ain't going anywhere. He's playing one more year in the NFL at least. So good for them. I was really happy for them. I'm very, very proud of them, very excited for them. And for the day on July 3rd, I was a Swiftie and damn proud of it. I posted it all over my page, and the haters can just go kiss my ass. So it wasn't too bad. So those who didn't want to hear about that, I am done. You can come back on because I still got a lot of stuff. Unless you are Republican MAGA fuckwads and get ready to attack your dumb asses also. So with the heat domes we've been having, power grids were going to be getting tested very, very hard, very, very hard. People are going to be turning their air conditioning on like 72 to stay cool, fans, stuff like that. So the energy output is going to be crazy, and it might be too much for the energy grid, and they might break down and they might lose power, which would be a whole lot worse. So in New York, Mayor Mondami is like, can you guys just, if you're not in the house, turn your, or even if you're in the house, turn your thermometer to 78 degrees. Yeah, it might suck, and it's still better than 100 degrees, but it'll save the energy grid, and everybody will be able to stay with the electricity and stay cool and eat and stuff like that. And it wasn't an order saying you have to do this. He was just saying, could you please do this? And we know a lot of people didn't, because they don't care. They want to stay cool. But there were probably people that did. So the Republican MAGA people are like, look at that communist stuff, ordering us, his people to put the temperature at 78 degrees. The Department of Energy in Washington, D.C. on their website says the same goddamn thing. When it's hot, put your thermometer at 78 fucking degrees. So that was brought up, and then immediately it was deleted off of the website. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And on top of that, also, the Republican Texas and Republican Florida both said, put your temperatures at 78 degrees during this heat wave. What the fuck is wrong with you? Are you so... Yes, you are so fucking miserable. I don't have any fucking words for this. It's a bunch of bullshit. A coalition group today, or not today, yesterday, 4th of July, since technically the 5th of July, on 4th of July, walked the length of one of the streets all the way down to the Capitol, carrying a 300-foot long reproduction of the Declaration of Independence. There also was a lot of protesting pedo president and trying to order him to get indicted and removed from office, as he should be. So we had all that going on as well. A paratrooper who came flying in with American flag during one of the events during this pedo president's celebration of America sort of thing, flew into a tent and crash landed into a tent. He was fine, so that's why it's kind of funny to see that. It's just a sign that he couldn't do anything right and like that. There was a Facebook page that was started that said for white people only. So it was a white supremacist page. And the black people said, African Americans said, fuck you guys. They came on and they started posting all over, and it became this big thing where everything in the comments or everything on the page was black people talking different things, talking about sports, talking about food and stuff like that. But it was all black people were just posting, and all the white people were like, what the fuck is this? What's going on? Why are these black people on our page? It's fucking hilarious. This is not political. So we're done with the politics for now. There's a few more coming up down the line. A fox and a bald eagle were photographed sitting on a picnic table, just chilling, looking like they were having a meeting. This, again, was not AI, and I thought it was really kind of neat. It's a really neat picture and really funny to see that. Speaking of animals, Neil, a 2,200-pound seal, has been wreaking havoc in Australia this week. His most favorite thing to destroy are traffic cones, but he's been going after people and stuff like that, whapping them and just being a general nuisance. Local news, a Howard County man got his car stolen while he was robbing the Verizon store. So early in the morning, I think on the 3rd or the 2nd, a guy was trying to break into the Verizon store to steal phones and money and stuff like that. While he was doing that, his car got stolen. So he called the police to report his car being stolen, then got arrested for breaking into Verizon. Fucking hilarious. I love that shit. Absolutely love it. Fan freaking tastic. The Mandela Catalog, that's another one of these creepypastas that is being turned into movies. This one is a creepypasta that basically deals with like aliens that can turn themselves into duplicates of people after they kill them. And it's apparently a big thing on the internet. Never heard of it really, to be honest. But the guy who created it has been tapped to direct it, the movie version of it as well. And of all people, Steven Spielberg is producing it. So that's a wild sort of thing going on there. Ian McKellen has announced that he will be heading to New Zealand in July. Oh, it is July. Later in July. To film the new Lord of the Rings film, doing probably his last time being Gandalf. So he'll be doing his Gandalf role here this month and next couple of weeks. August 5th, we get our first look at The Ninth Jedi. It is an animated series from Disney Plus. We get our first trailer look at it as part of the Star Wars Visionary series. Jones Soda is reviving Fufu Berry flavor, which is one of their first OG flavors they ever did. We get our first look at the Tom Hanks baseball movie, The Comebacker, set to debut on July 30th, 2027. May 17th has been designated as Bruce Lee Day in California. Governor Newsom reported today, or this week. Ava Green suffered a leg injury during filming of Wednesday Season 3. Filming has been shut down as she recovers. The Last Kids on Earth, the Netflix animated series that's ended a while back, is now being turned to a live-action series on Disney+. Rose Glass is set to write and direct an adaptation of My Year of Rest and Relaxation after Yorgos Lanthimos has left the project. So that could have been his next film, but it's not anymore. Rose Glass is writing and directing it. There is a third Moana film in the works. The Rock pointed that out during his press for the Moana live action series, so they're working on that as well. Cinnamon Toast Crunch root beer float flavor is coming, but the bonus on it is there's going to be a scratch and sniff box so you can smell the Cinnamon Toast Crunch root beer float flavor. Another local news, UFOs apparently were spotted in Anne Arundel County, Maryland, and photographed. They look like a series of white silver things, about 10 of them all sort of gathered together in something, so no one knew what they were. Josh Gad is joining the cast of Ocean's 11's prequel. St. Elmo's Fire, this is weird. St. Elmo's Fire, which came out almost 40 years ago, is going to be getting a sequel with the OG cast set to return, which means you're going to get Rob Lowe, you're going to get Andrew McCarthy, you're going to get Demi Moore, you're going to get Emilio Estevez, you're going to get, I forget the other ones, Judd Nelson, I forget the other female role. So we'll see if that actually comes to fruition. I guess when Andrew McCarthy did his Brat Pack documentary, he was talking to all these people and he convinced them, hey, maybe we should do a sequel. And Rob Lowe announced that they will be doing a sequel. Clue Universal Monsters Edition is set to come out in time for Halloween. Fallout Season 3 has started production as well. We need to finish Season 2. Little Debbie's Flapjack Mini Muffins. There's the next thing from Little Debbie coming out soon. Lockbox trailer starring Carla Gugino and Lou Taylor was debuted this week. New Metroid video game coming this year. Super Mario Galaxy is coming to Peacock on streaming on July 30th. And one more political thing I just had in here. Pedo president went to a Teddy Roosevelt library, talked to an AI Teddy Roosevelt like hologram sort of thing, and then claimed that and had a conversation because he believed he was actually talking to the real Teddy Roosevelt and had a conversation with him, then came onto a presser and said, I had a talk with Teddy Roosevelt, as if it wasn't an AI creation and it wasn't really a conversation. He was just telling stuff about his history, and then Pedo President was the one that was doing all the talking. Psychopath. Deaths this week. Keith Mitchell, New Orleans Saints football player, died. Leroy Irvin, a Rams player, died this week. Hikaru Kurosaki, a Japanese actor who played one of like the robot sort of things, died as well this week too. Anniversaries, a lot here. Scary Movie 2 debuted 25 years ago this week. Back to the Future debuted 41 years ago this week. Men in Black debuted 29 years ago this week. Airplane debuted 46 years ago this week. All good stuff except for Scary Movie 2 so far. Boys in the Hood debuted 35 years ago this week. Big Trouble in Little China debuted 40 years ago this week. Gettysburg, I'm sorry, we'll talk about that later. Secret of Nim debuted 44 years ago this week. In history, the Gettysburg battle took place in the Civil War, July 1st through the 3rd, 1863, which was 163 years ago. And James A. Garfield was shot and killed 145 years ago this week as well. Boom. We got a new Odyssey trailer, and nothing too spectacular than that. We also get a new mini trailer from Spider-Man Brave New World. Looks like Messi's going to be in it. It has Tom Holland's Peter Parker talking to him. Shauna D. Clark is set to play Othello in a gender-flipped version of the Shakespeare play. The newest rumor now is Tom Brittney, an actor I've never heard of before, is set to play the Batman in the James Gunn universe. No official announcement yet, so we'll see. We got our first teaser trailer for Neuromancer, which is based on a William H. Gibson novel, which is going to be made for Apple TV coming out this year, I believe. The Arctic Circle hit 100 degrees this week. Paul Dano, who I, as I said, despise as the Riddler, but he's a decent actor, is joining Possession remake with Callum Turner and Margaret Qualley. Oh yeah, I got all these fun things. The Surf House is set to get a TV series based on the novel. Solar flare hit Earth this week with the aurora starting to be strong during this weekend. Dylan O'Brien has been cast in a Hulu series called Lex about a failed reality star who's past it, who is filming a video of himself trying to get back into the world again, accidentally films a murder as part of this video and goes on the run as people trying to hunt him down and kill him. Monica Barber, who I didn't know was dating Andrew Garfield, but I did now, is set to join the Ocean's 11 prequel as well. The Choco McGriddle is available, but only in Hong Kong. So basically, McGriddle is the pancake that McDonald's does that they put their eggs, sausage, and bacon stuff on if you want the sweet sort of thing like that. But now they have a Choco one only in Hong Kong, so that's interesting. This is kind of shitty. Sony announced that physical disc production of their PlayStation games will cease in 2028, so you can only get them through digital in the next 2 years. And you can you have physical for the next 2 years, but after that, it's all going to be digital, which is stupid. Zorro reboot casts Oscar winner Jean Dujardin. This is great. The TV Academy Hall of Fame announced their Hall of Fame inductees. They include Matt Stone and Trey Parker from South Park, Gene Smart, Ted Danson, Ed Bradley, Sheila Neves, and Ted Serenatis. So that's a good group there. Snickerdoodle Coffee Creamer will be coming back this year, which is fantastic. Haven't had that for a while. UK government may intervene in the terrible Paramount WB merger. Simu Liu is set to join Allison Williams and Michelle Randolph in Homewrecker, a sci-fi movie. Her Private Hell trailer came out this week as well. This is kind of shitty. Gene Wilder's voice will come alive again via AI for the Netflix Willy Wonka competition series they're going to be working on. The Gene Wilder's family estate okayed the use of his voice via AI, which is kind of shitty. I don't know if he said it was okay or what, but they are doing it. So now we get the weird side of the news. We got a bunch of weird stories all on the line here. First up, a Ugandan general professes his love for Beyonce, orders Jay-Z to surrender her, or he will go to the UN and challenge Jay-Z to a duel. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Owner of the world's smallest penis is getting a potential procedure that will change his condition for free. Woman claims cocaine found in her butt after arrest must have been there from an intimate encounter. And finally, not so weird, archaeologists think that they have found a link to the Ark of the Covenant. We'll see. Deaths this week: Nick Hutcherson, a firefighter who died fighting a wildfire. Natal Campbell, the mother of Calais Campbell, who just rejoined the Ravens this year. This is sad. She was murdered by her other son, not Calais. Calais' brother murdered his mother. Victor Willis, a Village People lead singer, died this week as well. Stan Saunders, a local news commentator, passed away this week as well. Natalie Wills, a USA lacrosse pusher, the woman that got the USA lacrosse up and running, and also was at the University of Maryland women's lacrosse team, was an assistant coach there. She passed away this week as well. Anniversary, Spider-Man 2 debuted 22 years ago this week. Apollo 13 debuted 31 years ago this week. The Devil Wears Prada, the original, debuted 20 years ago this week. And the Tunguska Blast appeared 118 years ago this week. For those who don't remember the Tunguska Blast, basically in Tunguska, which is a village in Siberia, a huge swath of forest was obliterated by an explosion above this forest. Now, people have all kinds of theories behind it. They believe that it was an electrical test. They believe it was a bomb test. But this was 1908, so they didn't have any nuclear bombs or whatever, but they believe it was something like that. They believe Tesla might have been involved with it as well. They also believe it might have been a UFO burning up and blowing up in Russia. So all kinds of weird stuff going on about that. Down to our last page. So we're going to be about an hour and a half, which is perfect. And we will move on after the holiday. See if I can find this will be the last story. I think I said these from last week, but I'll repeat again. Tim Robbins and Sissy Spacek are joining a new Emma Stone movie. The Spice Girls are getting their own Funko Pops. I think I talked about them last week, but I decided to put them there. Just talked about the Tunguska Blast, a fireball, which we haven't seen fireballs in a while. We had a whole bunch of them hit earlier this year, but a new fireball was spotted over Alabama, Louisiana, and Florida this week. Mosquitoes apparently don't like garlic, which is interesting because other bloodsuckers like vampires don't like garlic either. Tasties, flavor, fun things, whatever, have a creamy garlic mozzarella stick, a marinara mozzarella stick, and a cheddar bacon potato ball, which is good to eat now. Bath and Body have released their Summerween collection, which is basically Halloween stuff during the summer. Kate Middleton, the potential soon Princess Kate Middleton, the potential Queen of England, soon climbed Britain's 3 highest peaks in under 24 hours in secret. John Oliver joined the cast of General Hospital for 3 episodes. He talked about it on his show so much, and they decided to give him a chance. Angry Birds 3 trailer debuted this week. The Backrooms made over about $300 million already, and the director, Kane Parsons, decided, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add 15 minutes end credit sequence to continue the what could lead to the next movie. And we'll re-release it in movie theaters with this end credit sequence. So that was re-released this week as well. So it might be a time now to go see Backrooms. Maybe tomorrow or later today. Deadly European Heat Wave melts German transit tracks. Kristen Ritter is filming the new season of Dexter right now, reprising her role from the first season. Alaska Supreme Court is allowing 2 Dan Campbells to be on the same primary ballot, which is crazy. Bad Bridget's new film begins production this week. Stars Amelia Jones, Allison Oliver, Colin Farrell, Steve Coogan, Charlie Keaton, Donald Gleason, Hamish Patel, Niamh Alger, and Simone Keating. Olivia Trilby is joining the cast of Fire Country. Man charged, I should probably make that one the last one. I'll do that as the last one also. You have to wait for that one. Aaron Taylor Johnson and Alicia Vikander are joining the cast of Netflix's erotic thriller Enigma Variations. And speaking of Aaron Taylor Johnson, his role in Werewolf, Robert Eggers' new horror film set to debut on Christmas, released its first trailer this week. Love traditionally movies in the works. I think Love theoretically based on the novel. Movies in the works at Amazon. Davy Chase passed away a couple weeks ago. We learned that she died of AIDS. We had a first look at Not Alone, Illumination's new film starring Timothy Chalamet and Selena Gomez, animated film coming out next April. It's about a scientist and his assistant who fall in love. They launch a rocket to try to find alien species, and they find these three little slime things that come back to visit them. That's the only thing we got for the trailer. Tasmanian devils are born again on mainland Australia for the first time in 3,000 years. Now, Tasmanian devils have been around in the island. I forget the name of the island, but the island right nearby Australia. They're thriving there, but the first ones have been found being born in the wild in Australia this week. They discovered new ones as well, and they haven't been born wild in Australia for 3,000 years. So that's good on that. The Ford Card Company released a bunch of people with their car builders and relied on AI to build cars, but the AI fucked it up, as we've been saying, and lots of their cars have had to be recalled because things had to be fixed. So it's costing them lots of money. So Ford decided, can you guys come back and help us? So fuck around and find out, bitch. Before we get to our last two stories this week, we'll hit the remaining deaths and anniversaries. Deaths: Phil Kanachek, an NFL player, passed away this week. Akihiro Mina, a Japanese singer, voiceover actress, died this week as well. Katsuya Vuichi, a sushi chef who created spicy tuna crispy rice, died at the age of 67 this week. Judge David Doty, who ruled on many landmark NFL cases, died this week as well. Alexander Correa, a Brazilian voiceover actor, died this week as well. And Charles Glatzer, a wildlife photographer, died this week as well. Anniversaries: The Perfect Storm debuted 26 years ago this week. The Patriot debuted 26 years ago this week. Superman Returns with Brandon Routh debuted 20 years ago this week. And that's it. So our final two stories for tonight's episode, set on July 4th and now into July 5th. Someone stole the 1991 Godzilla suit from Toho Studios. That's terrible, but someone's actually stole it. There's somebody out there now running around as Godzilla in that suit. And finally, the very last story. Why not? It's 12:43 a.m. Nobody's watching live anyway, and it's sort of grown up. A man is charged after masturbating at a Barnes & Noble. They like the book smell. That is the end of episode 668. SEMIQUINCENTENNIal. It was, I think, my first episode I ever did on July 4th. Potentially, maybe. I might have done one before. I just don't remember it. Had my July 4th memories. And don't forget to watch my previous new show, Holiday Dill, where I talk about nothing exclusively 4th of July. I'll do another one for Halloween and so on and so forth. And there's my kitty. You missed the show, Pepper. There were some fireworks that were launched in the neighborhood and in the area, but it's gone quiet now, which is good. It used to be that the fireworks would keep going all night long and into tomorrow. But now at 12:44 a.m., there is no fireworks, nothing but silence. The heat dome has apparently finally been broken, though it's still really humid out. But the temperatures are going to go back down to normal. So thank heavens for that. We all survived that. My family's back. I'm happy for that. Travis and Taylor are married. I'm really happy for them as well. And there's Pepper. You had to make an appearance. Pepper's here. My kitty boy. And we're back to real life now. The next holiday is Labor Day, which will kick off the beginning of fall. So I cannot wait for that. But we have to go through the remainder of July. So we have 31 days here in July. So we're on the 5th now. So we've got 26 days left in July. And then we have 31 days in August, which is 57 days. And then Labor Day is not till the 7th. So we have close to 57, 60 some days until Labor Day and the beginning of fall. Now, we do have some stuff coming up. July is a really good movie. In a couple of weeks, we got The Odyssey coming out. A couple weeks after that, we have Spider-Man, Brand New Day. So we got that coming up. My wife is going to go on a Maine trip with her scout troop at the end of July into August. And then going to do a girls' weekend with her sisters and my daughter and her cousin. But not you, Pepper. And so we got some stuff coming up. And then my son's birthday is at the end of August. My daughter goes back to college August 24th. And my son goes back to school August 31st. So we still got a little time to go. So we got 50-some days left in the summer. So it's just getting warmed up. Hopefully we won't have any more hot, steamy heat dome days. If so, you'll be the first to hear about it on my show, because I will bitch and complain about it. All right, everybody. I want to wish you a happy 4th of July. Americans who are watching this, happy 4th of July. 250 years. No, it doesn't feel like it. A little depressing note. I will not be around for the 300th anniversary of the United States, which is in 50 years. And me being 53, if I was, it would be at the age of 103. So probably not going to happen. So this was it. No more big celebrations for America for me. Oh, well, it happens. But we're done. Thank you for watching. Happy 4th of July. Enjoy your one more day left of your holiday weekend. Everybody goes back to, well, not everybody, but lots of people go back to work on Monday. They might have taken Monday off, and then Tuesday they'll all be back. So that's all we got. Next week, couldn't tell you what we're going to be talking about because don't know what's coming out. I think Pokemon Go Fest is next weekend. So we got that coming up. You got to click down, Peps, because I'm getting ready to shut down. So we got that coming up. We had Pokemon Community Day today, but I didn't do anything about it because I was at my uncle's house. So we'll check that out. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Congratulations, Taylor and Travis, again. I'm so happy for you. Happy birthday, America. I know it doesn't feel like it, but hopefully we'll be okay. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your holiday weekend, and we'll see you next Saturday.